All right, I am too lazy to put up my lights, so this is the lighting you get. I'm just going all natural. So I hope you guys have been having a good day so far. Mine's been very interesting to say the least. I know that this morning I was very Shelly Martinez on Twitter. And since then I've been feeling some pretty interesting energies. So I just wanted to come on here and clear some things up. So here's the thing. Now, I'm not going to go through like everything that I said this morning because if you want to see, go ahead and look at it now. And here's the thing. It's so funny to me because whenever I throw something out there on Twitter, 9 times out of 10, I'm ready to talk about whatever it is that I'm tweeting about. And when things truly, truly bother me to where it's just like effing with me big time, I don't say anything for a while and I let it like sit with me for a while because I try to like figure it out, and then when I can't really 100% figure something out, that's when I just gotta like say something. And that was this morning. So it's not that I'm trying to figure out this girl that I'm talking about, because based on my history with her and her history with other girls, it's kind of clear what the issue is, and that's fine. And something that I did mention in my tweets was that I'll always have love for this girl, and I even told her that. So if you didn't read Twitter and you're like, what the hell am I talking about? So this morning I went on Twitter and I said that, in a nutshell, it was pretty interesting that, or it annoyed me. I said it was annoying that there's a girl in wrestling and she and I have had a really interesting relationship. At first it was really, really bad, to where she was the first person to truly give me trauma in wrestling, to be honest with you. She messed me up in a match really bad, and I didn't realize until after I retired that this certain thing that followed me in wrestling, especially right before I was going to perform, or times that I've wrestled her, there's this like heavy, sick feeling, and it takes me out of not only energy going into the match, but it's one of those things where I start to like second guess myself and feel no worth, but I get through it. And I didn't realize that what stemmed from until like a couple years ago. I was like, okay, where did that come from? Like, where did it start? And I started peeling the onion back. Okay, there was this time, and then this time, and then this time. And a prime example of that is, you know, that match I did have with Rebel. It was going really well. I was feeling it. I loved being in the ring with her. I thought we were having a lot of fun. And then when that miscommunication happened, that thing happened to me. And I know a lot of wrestlers or performers probably could totally relate, but it was different because there's times where I've messed up in the ring where it was like, it's a learning experience, you know, whatever. But then there's times where it's a different thing. And that's what I was trying to figure out, is like, what is that thing? And it stemmed from when I peeled all the layers back, this match I had with this girl where she effed me up. Granted, later in life, when I worked with her on one of the companies that I was on TV with, she apologized to me and she told me that she owed me a match. And we did have a really awesome match once. Many times, actually. Many times. But, or I shouldn't say many times, but we had quite a few really awesome matches. But the one she was talking, like she owed me the match, like she did give it to me. And I actually befriended her and hung out with her on my personal time. There was a time that I was dating this musician and he was filming something in San Francisco, and I knew that she was going to be in the area, so, and it just worked out. And you know, she came and hung out with us and everything. And when I got sick from taking shots of Jaeger, which that is not something I recommend. I mean, I guess some people like Jaeger. Jaeger and me do not get along. And she was just there for me. I felt connected. There was different conversations we had. I felt so connected to her, and that's where that love really came from. And it was almost like the thing that happened before, it was so in the past because of that connection I was building with her, you know, during that time. Then when I was no longer around her really, I'd see her here and there, that's when like the tude started coming back, and I was like, what the hell? And then one time she was so bitchy about like me smoking, and it's crazy because I remember I told her, look, I'm not out there getting all effed up. Like, it's just like I need to focus and be in control, and that's my medication. And the reason why I have to keep going to smoke is because, you know, and I say this to people like, oh, they were like, oh, you're always smoking. It's like, you know what? When people take a medication, like let's say Zoloft for depression or Xanax for anxiety, because it's in pill form, it stays in your system for a long ass time. When you smoke marijuana, I mean, eventually it wears off. And that's why. And it wasn't like if I was at home chilling smoking, it was getting my mind right smoking. And, you know, I know that was a big issue, but then like I would see her around other wrestlers like a RVD or, you know, and I say his name because he's so cannabis friendly and open about it, right? So it was weird to me that like, that's okay. It's okay for RVD, but not Shelly. All right. So I just kept seeing these different moments. And then there was a couple times where I was around her and she did her little bullying thing. Now I used to think it was just me. Like it was a issue she had with me. But then the more I was in the business and younger girls would come up to me, ask me for advice or vent to me about, you know, some frustrations or whatever, her name got brought up a lot. And it bothered me because I was like, oh, I thought she's supposed to be Miss Wrestler USA. Like, I don't understand. Like, that sucks that she's putting these girls down and bullying them. And one of the things that I felt, and I could be wrong, is she was one of the many people who treated me differently because I did have a modeling background before going into wrestling, and I continued it throughout my wrestling. And there's some people who just didn't take me serious. They just thought, oh, Shelly's just like an alternative looking one of the Diva Search girls. That's how the vibe was. And there's nothing wrong with being a Diva Search girl, by the way. I'm just saying, like, it was just like this like thing. So you know, it irked, and that's what goes to my tweet this morning. To go through all that in a nutshell, to where my mental health has been very affected by this person, and the judgmental vibes about being a model and putting out content out there, and then hearing from other girls who, there's one girl in particular that, you know, on the side, that she was a dancer, and she told this girl she's never gonna get taken serious and da-da-da. And it's like, this girl wasn't announcing to the world that she was a dancer. It's just that what she was doing to make ends meet. And then here she goes to get this great advice from someone that, like, whatever, and then she's just like putting her down. So that's why it bothers me to see that she's now jumped on the OnlyFans bandwagon. And that's fine. I want everyone to make money. Everybody. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody has their own vibes, and different people are going to vibe with it. That's not my point. My point is that this girl and a couple other girls were so judgmental to me and to other girls that have been in wrestling, that have either been dancers, done topless photos, did sexy photos, and now, especially, I mean, I don't know how long this girl's been doing this because I don't keep up with her, but especially now with the corona, you're seeing people kind of like trying to figure things out. And that would be so great if just that handful of girls, that one girl in particular, at least for me, didn't judge so hard before they realize that is something that they can do. And here's the other thing. I often wonder about the girl that I was talking about, if maybe she didn't feel comfortable in her own skin and she came off to me as very insecure, wanting approval, wanting to fit in, wanting to feel cool. So maybe now her OnlyFans, she finally feels that. And guess what? She is that. When her and I were connecting and I was friends with her and we were like, you know, I was confiding in her certain things that was going through in my life, and I don't open up to many people. It's like I saw how cool she was. I got to know a different side of her other than wrestling, and I thought she was awesome. That's why I wanted to be friends with her. She's beautiful. Like, she already was all these things before. Maybe that's why she does OnlyFans now and she feels good. And I love that. But it's annoying that she ended up, in my opinion, turning on me and doing her thing. And then when I took it personal, that's when life gave me answers that it wasn't just me, that I was not the problem, that she's the problem, when all these other girls, especially these young girls in wrestling, were confiding in me all this bullying that she was doing. And I was just like, dude. So that's why I tweeted that this morning. And it wasn't for me to like make people speculate who's she talking about. And I already know that's gonna happen. That's a given. But I know she's gonna see that. I know people behind, like in wrestling, whether they're talent or somehow to do that, aren't fans, that they're like work in wrestling somehow. They're gonna see that and they're gonna speculate and wonder. And then they're gonna take screenshots and be like, who's Shelly talking about? Oh, I da 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 da. And guess what? That girl is finally gonna see it one way or another. That's why I did it. Because now I'm finally able to talk about it. Because there's a long time I couldn't, because I was so hurt. So much so that I've been around her when I've been drunk. And I just been like, you have no idea how much I love you. And I meant it. And it was because I was keeping all this in, because honestly, if I really told her what I wanted to, I don't think she'd be able to handle it. I think she would feel bad. It'd make her feel bad about herself. And honestly, I feel it would make her crumble a little bit. And I didn't want to do that, even though I was in pain and I was hurting. Just like I tweeted, I even, like last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, I actually called her when I was drunk because I was thinking about everything and I just didn't care because I was drinking. And I was like, whatever, I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her everything right now. Like, I can't handle this anymore. I have to release it. And she didn't answer. She did text me and she was like, oh, you know, I'm out and about, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'll call you tomorrow. And she did. But then I didn't answer because after I slept on it and everything and I just thought more, I thought, you know what? Right now is not the time. Right now isn't the time to share this with her because I don't think she would receive it fully. And I don't even think right now is the time to tell her, or else I would have texted her. But I do think right now is the time for her to discover this, the tweets and this video, whenever she does. Because hey, maybe it's not today, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's not next month, maybe it's next year, and I still didn't feel the need to text her anymore, because you know why? I released it. And that's why I decided to make this video, because this morning when I released that, and I knew that she would see it when the time is right, because I trust in time and the right timing, not our timing. And like I tried to do when I drunk called her, and life was like, no. So, you know, that was me being done with it. And I felt so much lighter. But then all day people have been like, oh, the speculation and da da da. And it's like, I'm not gonna reply to those because that's not why I made those tweets. It was literally for one person to see it. And in this day and age, you gotta play telephone a little bit. Because I just really trust in timing and that she'll see all of this in the right time. So there you go, just letting you guys know. And I wasn't, I was just really annoyed this morning more than anything. Again, because for years I've been holding this in. And it took me up until like, I think it was like maybe like a couple years ago to realize all that. You know what I mean? So I was in wrestling for 17 years. So for that whole 17 years, like, I've been holding stuff back that have hurt me and dealing with it because I wanted to understand it before I could talk about it. And that's the thing.